Welcome back to another episode of 100 Southeast Asian Films in 100 Days. And today we'll be talking about these 5 films. And the first one this week, The Forbidden Door by Joko Anwar. Okay, I might sound too critical for this film. However, it had the potential to have much better writing. And I find that the twist wasn't as fulfilling because it really felt like it was just written conveniently. And in the end, there wasn't much to uncover or even think about. And I would describe the end as like a oh instead of a oh. You know what I mean? Because the whole film feels like a dream but done in a very cheap way. And I hate to admit this because it had so much potential to be more captivating. Unfortunately, it lacks the uniqueness in telling the story that has relatability to the audience and knowing what it wants to tell. Even the look and the feel of the film doesn't feel right. Man, I think the worst one in this film is the title sequence for me. It's a film that tries to be what it's not. And the second one this week, Laskar Pelangi by Riri Riza. Huge improvement from the previous film because I almost cried in this one. It's a coming-of-age film where I felt the warmth of the story and even the depth of every feeling. It had a very enthusiastic start. It's straightforward when it needs to, and it also takes a breather when it needs to tell you something. Despite the struggles and the hardships, the use of music kept the mood optimistic and hopeful, telling us that these characters would eventually find a way. The music in this film felt like a guide to what the characters are feeling during that situation or circumstance. However, I would still say this film is not perfect. Reason being because there were too many characters to follow, but they still managed to make you sympathize for everyone as a whole. Overall, it's a wholesome film and I enjoyed it. And the third film this week, By the Time It Gets Dark, by Anocha Suwichakornpong. I'd start off by saying that this film has so many gorgeous shots and framing, almost like staring at a moving painting. So the statement this film made was told through various shots that has a motif that would sometimes come across as random, but for me I do understand some of it. And on the first watch, it is definitely hard to catch all of them. That's why watching this film requires a broader perspective. Also, watching this feels like a fever dream, and when you do, it gives you a feeling and you feel this film has a shape that you have to find out how many sides there are. It's definitely ambiguous and very open for interpretation. While I was watching this, it was mostly just me trying to understand and decipher what everything meant. And once again, it's a very beautiful film that needs a few watches to truly understand what they're trying to say. And the fourth one this week, The Killing of Satan by Efren C. Pinon. My appreciation for whoever put this film in this list is insurmountable. It was hard for me to take this film seriously. It's because of how uniquely absurd the world building is. This film is not terrible by any means, but it's something that I've not seen before. To me, what I think was hilarious was the costume, art direction, and even the editing, because it felt like it was done hastily. The story itself felt rushed, but in some scenes it lingers unnecessarily on something quite often. But somehow some of the things do work. Mainly the choice of the special effects. There were many questionable things that I choose not to question and decide it's just better to accept it. And for the fifth film this week, Florentina Hubaldo CTE by Lav Diaz. This film gave me the thought of what Lav Diaz's filmmaking style is. Now the story itself is quite straightforward, however, the structure and the pace made me think about what limits filmmaking has when it comes to length. Conventionally, this film would not land for most people. It's either too long or not actively engaging, but for me it made complete sense. The timeline of the film jumps around a bit, but after piecing it all together, it's worth spending 6 hours on it. The long takes that hold gave me so much room and time to think about the character. It's so brutal to the point you hear and you feel every single thing. Even the monologue and the dialogues are so poetic. To me, this film felt so perfect and it's a gorgeous piece of art. And that's all for this week. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down any thoughts. Okay, bye.